Cheers, everybody. We are back for another edition of Bourbon on a Budget. Myself, TJ Pittenger, Ben Cock, and Brendan Sonnone is his last name. How are you guys doing tonight?
Shalom.
That's not even the you're the worst. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. We're excited to be with you again, or today. Hopefully you're listening to this during the day. But if you listen at night, then hopefully you're drinking something and enjoying some sips, some libations with us. We have a fun show for you tonight. Every show's fun, whether we think it is or not, but that's just what you say when you're doing the intro to a show. We are going to talk a little bit about the Maker's Mark Distillery, their history, their line, some limited releases, some different things they do. And then we're going to get back to our replacement segment that we've done for the last 2 weeks. We've got an exciting replacement for you guys. Of course, we're going to hit our pursuits and purchases. We're going to preview what we're reviewing on Thursday's episode, and then we're going to get out of here. So let's start out with our Maker's Mark Distillery segment. But before we get to that, if you're listening, if you're checking us out, if you could follow us on all the social medias, we sure would appreciate it. That's Bourbon on a Budget, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, all of the different places. We really enjoy the fan interaction. We really enjoy hanging out with you guys on social media. We get a lot of tags on Twitter and Instagram stories and different things of what you guys are drinking every night. And so we appreciate that. We enjoy following along with it. So hit us up on social media. Guys, what are you drinking tonight before we get into it? We haven't done that in a while.
I am drinking, fittingly, for Maker's Mark. You see the red waxiness here, Maker's Mark. This is Maker's Cask Strength 46 as a little kind of a mini bottle from Costco. And I have to say, the nose is quite spectacular. Ben, what are you drinking?
So I'm actually alternating between a couple different bean products. One is this Yellowstone hand-picked barrel pick from a store in our area. And I have a Maker's Private Select Rob Samuels Cask Strength, also from Costco. Shout out Costco. You're my favorite.
Still? Oh, we won't talk about it.
You're dead to me.
I have a Lucan's pick.
Ooh, the
a
cannoli.
Stay Finish cannoli. We'll talk about these later, what these are, what makes them different, what makes them special. Cannoli, something a little bit different. Hopefully you guys will like our conversation about that. Let's talk about the Maker's Distillery. Brendan, let's talk some history. The floor is yours. You have 15 minutes. Let's go.
Oh, I don't think it's going to take me 15.
35 minutes on the clock.
I should have done more research. All right, so Maker's Mark, for those of you who are not familiar, is a wheated bourbon, which basically means that wheat is replacing an ingredient or is a dominant ingredient, not as much as corn, unless it's a straight wheat, which then doesn't make it a bourbon, I think is how it works. Anyways, wheat replaces rye, and this mash bill for Maker's Mark, bourbon is the dominant grain. It's about 70%. And then I think that wheat is 16%. We'll look that up for when we review Maker's Mark, spoiler alert, on the next show. And then malted barley's in it too. So they make it with wheat that adds a smoothness to the profile. Typically, the rye is spicier and more verbose, and wheat usually kind of mellows it out a little bit, makes it sweeter, which is something that we are going to discuss as we go over the product line for Maker's Mark. But yeah, the wheat makes a big difference, and it is super distinct, especially Maker's Mark. You'll know a Maker's almost anywhere once you get used to it, because their mash bill is one so consistent throughout the line, even as they're adding staves and whatnot to it. It's good stuff. I'm a fan of Maker's Mark, and I've become increasingly a bigger fan as I've explored their entire line. So Maker's Mark, I'm going to read a little bit here. Some of this is from the Wikipedia, as I like to call it. Began when William, quote unquote, Bill Samuels purchased the Burke's Distillery in Kentucky for $35,000 on October 1st, 1953. So 1953.
What a bargain.
I mean, that seems like that it's worth much more than that now, I would imagine. The product started being produced in 1954. The first run was bottled in 1958 under the brands Dipped Red Sea Wax. So that's what I want to get to in part of the history here with Maker's Mark. You can see behind me here all the other types of makers. So all of them have hand-dipped red wax. Why? Well, basically, when Maker's was kind of coming into its own in the 1950s, bourbon wasn't super popular. I know we think Mad Men and bourbon being popular, but really, especially as we got to the 1960s and 1970s, there was a lot of restrictions on grains, and a lot of stemming from post World War II and the when did World War II end? 1940 something, right? So anyways, there was part of this that kind of came from that made some grains restricted. As a result, a lot of people started going to different types of liquor, different types of alcohol, and the super grain based bourbon kind of fell out of favor for a lot of different people. So Makers, trying to distinguish itself as a newbie, as a young bourbon, said, "Hey, how are we going to do that?" Well, one idea that was decided by Miss Margie Samuels, who is Bill's wife. She said, "Hey, we're going to go ahead and dip everything in red wax." It was fairly inexpensive. It made it pretty obvious what it was when you were at the storefront. That's how the red wax came to be. One other thing about Maker's Mark and its marketing, Maker's marketing, see what I did there, guys? It is, this was very creative. This was, again, around the same time, 60s and 70s, when other types of spirits or I'm trying to think of it, like basically grain spirit, like grain whiskey was more popular. It was diluted with water and grain alcohol. And just not the pure, delicious brown stuff that we drink now. People were kind of rushing to the bottom, right? They were trying to get the cheapest type of whiskey out there and just try to make it readily available. Well, Maker's Mark said, no, we're going to go the opposite direction with our marketing. We are going to say that it is, quote unquote, it tastes expensive, and it is. So while everyone else was going lowbrow, Maker's Mark said we're going highbrow. I know today Maker's Mark is considered its baseline a pretty baseline budgety bourbon. But at the time, they said we were going to have quality, we were going to taste different, we were going to look different than what everyone else is doing, and that worked for them. And they're obviously still here today. It's sold multiple times. I think about like half a dozen. And since it was around in the 1950s, but most recently it was purchased by Beam Suntory. That's Jim Beam, for those of you listening at home. And that was in 2014. So it's remained there since. They've expanded their line. It's located in Kentucky. That is I guess, fairly quick, certainly not 15 minutes. What was this, like 3 or 4 minutes? I'm talking fast. I feel like an auctioneer right now of Maker's Mark. Ben, would you like to let the people know, beyond just the basic Maker's Mark, the 90 proofer, what else is out there?
Yeah, so let's talk about a little bit of their product line. Brendan was just talking about the Maker's Mark entry-level product, which is coming up on review, spoiler alert, later this week. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, they have Maker's Mark 46, which is part of their introduction into the stave finishing. So they distill their normal Maker's Mark product, and they insert 10 French oak staves into the barrel, age that for another 9 weeks, I believe, and they bottle that at 94 proof, and that is Maker's Mark 46. In recent years, they've been coming out with their cask strength additions to their line. So you have Maker's Mark cask strength, Maker's Mark 46, and then addition to that is Maker's Mark 46 cask strength. They've also released Maker's Mark 101, which is their base model Maker's Mark, proofed up a little bit to 101. It's usually going to compete with your Old Forester 100, your Wild Turkey 101s. That was a limited time release. I don't know if they've decided whether or not to keep releasing that product or not. But as you move into the more rare releases and the store picks, which TJ is going to talk about in a little bit, you get into stave finishing, which is Maker's Mark kind of signature in the bourbon realm, where they can choose a myriad of staves and kind of create a flavor profile that the buyer wants to choose. They also have annual releases that are designed by the distillery, and they're released once a year. This most recent one is FAE 01, and that was released in 2020. TJ and Brendan both have that bottle and absolutely love it. So once you get into the higher end products from Maker's Mark, there's a lot of variety, a lot of customization to kind of be found there. But that was pretty much a lot of the strict product line from Makers.
We'll talk a little bit about the FAE in just a minute. Brendan and I both do have a bottle. Brendan likes it a little bit more than I do. I don't love it, but I don't dislike it by any means. Ben hates it.
I adore it. It is
ain't great for me.
So Ben just thinks he's funny, and so he lies a lot. So I just go to hell. So I have this bottle for those that are watching. It's the cannoli profile. Man, it is excellent. We've had a few from the local store here, Lucan's. They had a caramel apple that was absolutely phenomenal. Great. Probably liked it a tiny bit better than this cannoli, but the cannoli is still very good. I sent a buddy of mine this cannoli. I have a buddy, same buddy, whose birthday is actually tomorrow. We're recording this the day before his birthday, but his birthday is on 6/9. Nice. He is sending me a bottle of Makers with a profile. The stave profile is called Dipped Donuts. So what is a stave profile? It's got different names, different profiles coming out. I've seen a ton of them. I've seen a ton of different interesting names. It doesn't necessarily taste just like a cannoli, but let me read you the 5 different stave profiles that are possibilities, and then we'll kind of talk about what they do. They have one that's like a baked American pure. That baked American pure is an American oak that's slowly toasted. It adds notes of brown sugar, vanilla, caramel, and spice. They have a Maker's Mark 46 stave. It's their regular stave, their 46 stave that started the whole experiment. It delivers notes of dried fruit, vanilla, spice that you may be familiar with if you've had the regular Maker's Mark 46. They have a seared French Cuvée stave. It's a French oak stave that's cooked in infrared heat. It gives it toasty notes of oak and caramel. There's a roasted French stave, kind of a French mocha is kind of what you get from that. You get traces of milk chocolate, nuts, and dark dried fruit, if I could speak. And then there's a toasted French spice stave, which is cooked at both high and low temperatures in a convection oven. This stave has a flavor profile of smoke, coriamin, am I saying that right? And spice.
Probably not.
So when you put some of those different staves together and you blend them in certain ways, you can pick 10 different stave profiles. This has 0 of the baked American pure, 2 of the French Cuvée, 4 of the Maker's 46, 3 of the mocha, and 1 of the spice. It is going to come up with different profiles. So the caramel apple one that we had a lot of the baked American pure, a lot of that flavor that you would expect there. Some of the French spice that you would expect. And it made that kind of that caramel apple profile. Now it doesn't taste, and I've had friends buy it and think that they were getting a caramel apple flavored whiskey. That is not the shout out, Allie. That is not the thought. It's not going to taste that sweet. It's not going to taste that not good, because good is subjective, but it's not going to be like that sweet flavored whiskey profile. The hints are what you're getting on those different stave profiles. The cannoli one has a little bit of the mocha, because in a cannoli, you just get a little bit of chocolate with the cream and the pie crust filling and things like that. So anyway, really, really cool what they're doing with their Ben's Thunder.
Thundering, that is impressive.
Sorry, my house is
I feel like a Garth Brooks song behind you, but no. Really cool what they're able to do with all the different options. There's about 1 billion options you can make, because you can select 10 of one if you wanted to, and so different stores will do different things. I'm excited for the dip donuts. I assume that has a pretty high, in the mocha. Excited to try that one and see kind of what we find out when we taste it. So really, really cool there. Brendan, talk a little bit about the wood finishing. I know you love that one, so I don't want to steal your thunder there. The stave profiles are really, really cool. I got all that info just on Maker's Mark website. Go to makersmark.com, hit private selection, and you can go through the different staves. It's cool to see what they look like, what exactly they're doing with them. I kind of tried to give you a quick snippet of each one of them, but it's a cool process that they've got going on right now. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So this is the 2021 limited release FAE01. Apparently it's an FAE02. I'm going to read what it says in the back because I think it's funny. The first release FAE01 is fruit forward with more focus on barrel extracts. The second release FAE02 is texture focused to really highlight the Maker's Mark mouth feel. So look forward to the mouthfeel prominent one. But so the FAEO one is 55.1%. It's 110 proof. So it's going to be spicy and it is finished. So TJ talked about the 10 different options that you have with these staves. This is 10 virgin oak staves. So virgin oak's going to be very wood flavored, very spicy typically. And one of the prominent notes on this on the nose is tobacco. And sure enough, one of my buddies got this. He really likes it, but the tobacco note is so strong on it. It reminds him of oh God, what's the then I called it Denmark.
Denmark.
It's not right. It's not Denmark.
It's Copenhagen.
Copenhagen. I don't do a lot of dip. Is Copenhagen in Denmark?
Da.
So I'm not that stupid, just a little stupid. But it is very just a little pequeño. It is very pipe tobacco-y and earthy, which is so cool compared to the regular Maker's Mark, which again, spoiler alert, third time. Reviewing it the next
it's
episode.
no longer a spoiler alert this time.
Everyone knows.
Nobody's gonna listen. Like, oh, let's go to 20 minutes in and see if there's a spoiler.
It gets a 6.9 out of 10. Nice. Don't bother watching it. No, I actually don't remember that's the score, but we all end up liking 69. It. But that's such a. Can you feel the tension?
No, that was the thunder
down in my plums. Anyways, this is so different than the standard offering, which is very fruity with cherry and sugary, maple syrupy, sweet, basic. So that's what's so cool about these different limited editions that they have. I also have a 2019. I couldn't find it for this, but that was their first limited edition release. It was awesome. The 2020 I did not have and was told that wasn't as great. I never had it. But yeah, something to look for in addition to the guys looking for their store picks. I like to look for the limited edition releases because I found that the 2 out of 3 so far have been superb. I can't wait to find that mouthfeel one next.
We like Maker's Mark, right? We've talked about different distilleries. We've done different things with them. I think you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised with our review. Spoiler alert, this one truly is. We do the review a lot of times, almost always, before we do the regular show so that our palates are fresh. So we reviewed and we liked Maker's Mark a lot. So check that out on Thursday morning when it comes out. Maker's Mark makes a great product. Just their regular standard issue stuff is great. We talked about this on the review, but you can get it in minis. So if you're watching this, go grab a mini of Maker's Mark and drink it with us while you're listening to the review. Unless you're like driving or at work or something. That's not a good idea. Well, work's fine, just not driving. Depending on what you do for a living. School's out, so if you
work remotely, feel free.
Yeah, which like 90% of the country does right now. Like we're good.
I am going to be hyperbolic here. I think Maker's Mark among the prominent big time bourbon brands is the most underrated bourbon brand. I think it is and the pricing indicates that it's not all jacked up and allocated like Buffalo Trace.
Even their secondary stuff. We didn't talk about these things, but what was your FAE? Like $60-$70? I think this was $60.
$70 at ABC, so you get those points, and that's right around what MSRP should be, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't pay crazy markups for this stuff, even on the secondary market, right? Like your FAE goes for like $85-$90, right? So you get a little bit of a bump on the secondary market, but nothing crazy. You're not paying $100 for it. So yeah, it's affordable, right? Like even their great stuff, their really, really good stuff doesn't get insane. And it's a great product. We didn't talk about the proof on these, but the proofs on these are anywhere from like 108 to 115 proof, right?
For the store picks? For
the store picks, what's your FAE? Similar, right?
It's 110 and change, yeah.
Yeah, mine's 111.4 or something. So that's good. That's a good proof with the product too.
And the pricing on them too, like per the proof, I'm trying to find where's my cask strength. You don't need to see it. I think the cask strength is about $40 to $45 for a 110, 111 proof cask strength. The 46, which has a stave, is about $40. I think the 101 might be the least value friendly one. I think it's between $30 and $40.
I think I got mine for 41. So. Okay,
so that's probably the one that doesn't quite hit home. I actually think the 46 might be closer to about 30, less than $40. But yeah, almost all of them. The bang for the buck is absurdly valuable for Maker's Mark, almost completely down the line. So yeah, I'm a big fan, and I've become an increasingly bigger fan the more we've kind of gotten into this and tried them. I'd never tried the cask strength until Ben recommended it, and Ben, thank you. It's opened up a whole new world of me spending
Yeah, it's great.
On Maker's Bourbon. Yeah, really good.
I would say the
Like Aladdin
way to
and
go
Jasmine.
with the Makers is store picks, 100%. Like with the customizability and like kind of like the recipe creating with the store picks, I think I would buy most store picks. If I can go walk into a store and try them, like try their barrel picks or whatever. They're like $60, huge kind of like I said, customization, and it's just a cool experience to like go and support local guys. So the Maker's store picks are what I'm buying most of the time. The annual releases is cool to have. They don't do as much for me as I would like, but I think I mentioned this in like maybe a show in the past, but TJ brought over some of the caramel apple to Universal. We were staying in a hotel over there, and we were sampling bourbon out of those little paper cups that you get in a hotel room next to the coffee machine, right? And so we're drinking out of that, and I remember thinking, this is way too good to be drinking out of paper cups. But even in those cups, it was killer product. So store picks, get the right store, they will pump out some great Makers picks, in my opinion.
So that's a little bit about our Makers. Do we have any other thoughts before we move on there? I think that was a good little section on segment on Maker's Mark.
Buy or Sonone, TJ, cross-pollinating podcast here. Buy Maker's Mark as a brand, right?
I Sonone you using that because I used it earlier today, and so
I don't get any of this
from
joke.
me.
I don't get any of this joke.
So for those that are like Ben and have never gotten a joke in their lives,
idiots.
Brendan does another podcast called On the Bench where they talk mostly about Florida State football. And if they let one of the other guys talk, they get like 5 minutes of baseball talk in as well. But mostly FSU football related. They have a segment called Buy or Sonone instead of Buy or Sell. So a little play on words with old Brendy Bren's last name. So
as obnoxious as I am on this podcast, Ben, I'm more so on that one, which I host. And
impossible.
No, it gets worse.
Well,
so
you've known those guys for so much longer.
Sonone turns into Sell, which is this negative connotation. So yeah.
And then it's incel and
whoa.
Okay, that got weird. So then we will go to our replacement segment. I love this segment. We've done it for 2 weeks now. The first week we replaced blends. Last week we replaced Weller 12. Moving away from the Buffalo Trace Distillery for this week's pick.
They were taking a beating, and they were almost up for another one this week.
We were close to giving them one more, but we didn't. What did we go with today, Brendan?
Oh God, I don't even have the little sample you gave me. I poured it already. It is Michter's
barrel
toasted.
strength.
It was barrel strength bourbon?
No, it's just
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, we're leaving that in for sure.
There was some confusion because I feel like it's not marketed super well what it is. I know they have the Michter's toasted barrel strength rye. They have Michter's barrel strength rye. They have Michter's toasted sour mash, and they have Michter's toasted bourbon. We are doing the Michter's toasted bourbon. Don't tell me to keep going, TJ. I know this. I'm a professional. Although I don't know exactly where he wants me to go after I told him what the bourbon was. It was Michter's toasted bourbon.
Yeah. Anyway, we're replacing this week Michter's toasted bourbon. Thanks,
we should edit out all that.
TJ.
No, just leave it all in. Just because editing is a pain.
Back to you, TJ.
The last time this was released was 2018, so it's pretty hard to find. That's kind of a good reason to replace it. Try to look for something new. It is super difficult to find because it hasn't been out in 3 years, right?
Hasn't been out in 3 years?
2018 was the last time that this was released.
They do something different. So 2019 was the sour mash toasted, and
2020 was rye. 2021, we don't know yet. Hopefully all three, but probably not.
They combined?
Probably not.
Ooh. You know what? Michter's, my favorite Michter's bang for the buck is their American whiskey. It's basically just bourbon, but it's not finished in. It's not in the new oak barrel, which is what one of the requirements. I think it's a used oak barrel, so it's nothing super fancy. It just doesn't have the restriction over this, so it softens out like the witty harshness of some bourbons, and it makes it too woody. You don't want too much wood, just a little wood. Super vanilla bomb. So Michter's does a great job. That's what I was trying to say, and I would love to have a barrel strength American whiskey by Michter's.
That sounds fantastic.
I think that'd be great.
So I do like Michter's a lot. I like a lot of their stuff. We've talked about this. I'm kind of a simp for the toasted barrel stuff. That's kind of right up my alley. I have
The old mix imp.
I have the Michter's toasted barrel bourbon. I've got the rye. I've got the sour mash. I actually have an extra one of the rye. I have the 17 rye. So they kind of go in order like that. I have the one that was before this 18 bourbon. I haven't cracked that 17 rye to try it yet. But I like the toasted stuff. We talked about Elijah Craig toasted. We talked about different things. But I like all of Michter's stuff, like not just their toasted barrel. I think that Michter's has much like Michter's has a very distinct toasty flavor to it already. And I think that that's just expounded upon with their toasted finish things. But I really like the Michter's
Brand
series, brand, all of it,
super high quality across the board. Everything they do, even if it's not like your cup of tea, TJ, like everything you can tell, like it's good. They do a really good job.
So how are you replacing this, TJ? What's your option here? You want to buy one, but it hasn't been out since 2018. You got to walk into a store.
Let's start. What do you like? What do you love? Because I know you love this. You are a super fan. What do you love about the toasted bourbon limited release here?
So I feel like to adequately answer this, I probably need to pour just a little bit.
Oh, if you have to, I know that's going to be
an excuse.
Terrible for you.
We talked about this on the last episode. I have not had this. The last 3 people to drink this were not me. Mm-hmm. I don't typically drink this, and I'm only pouring a little bit.
Yeah, I have a sample up here from you, TJ, and I don't want to even drink the whole thing right now.
I don't typically drink this unless people are over because it's that good to me that I want to share it with people. And if I start drinking it, I'll just finish it all in the same night. That's the other side of that. So I am going to take a little sip. I mean, literally just got just a tiny bit.
The nose is exquisite on it. It is like a lot of the double oak kind of series, the toasted stuff that we've enjoyed, the 1910, the double oak Woodford. This nose is exceptional.
Exquisite.
Yeah. How did you get into
it would probably get a 2.0. It'd probably get a 2 on the nose. It is
maybe if you wanted to round it up to like a 2.5 and cheat and go above our scale, I wouldn't.
It might be a burnt. It's like a burnt marshmallow. Like it's so good. It's so warm. It's so inviting. It's so sweet.
Super chocolatey, super sweet, and that
toasted, that s'more toast finish is so great. How did I get into it, Ben? I think is what you were going to ask.
Yeah, how'd you get into it?
I was at a bar in Savannah, Georgia, and saw that they had Michter's up there, and they had a Michter's 10-year, and then right next to it they had a toasted barrel, and I said, "Oh man, I've seen that before," and so can I try it? Can I try your toasted barrel? Loved it. It blew the Michter's 10 out of the water to me. I've since had the Michter's 10. I had it at a bar a few weeks ago, and it was great. But I tried the toasted barrel.
I find the Michter's 10 to be a little overrated, personally.
I got it. Yeah, I got it.
It's good. It's good.
I got it in a flight.
Not $200 good.
No, it's not. But retail's like 120, 130, and that's really
even then.
It's a little high. But
wagon uncut, unfiltered for 85. That's all I'm saying.
So back to me.
I'm gonna mute myself.
Very good. It's my favorite thing you've ever saw on this show. So anyway, up in a bar in Savannah, I think it was called Congress on Social. Shout out them. But grabbed a pour of it. It was $18 a pour. The guy rang it up wrong for $6. And I was like, he's like, hey, I accidentally charged the wrong thing, but I already rang it in. So it's like $6. I was like, all right, I'll take 2 more pours. He's like, well, they're going to be like 18. I was like, I'll still take 2 more pours. Like, cause I was like, math, I've already saved like $12. So then I'm really just getting them for
like BOGO.
Yeah. So I ended up getting 2 more pours of it. I mean, Savannah, you walk everywhere, so who cares? But it was fantastic. We went back the next night so that I could get 1 more pour of it. We had gone out and gone to a few different bars that evening. And I was like, hey, let's run by there. And let me get 1 more drink of that before we leave town and go. So got into it that way. Found a couple bottles on the secondary market. We had an episode on the secondary market last week, won some raffles, and was able to pick up a couple of bottles. So really good stuff. I don't know. Like you said, the finish is fantastic, Brendan. I don't know if you just sampled any of yours, but the finish is so good on it. It lingers like Ben likes. I wish this was a little higher proof. It's really, really easy to drink at just 90 proof or 90.4.
I thought it was 94.
That's the thing that hurts it. That's the only thing that hurts it.
If it was 100 proof, I think this would be
it'd be
a.
so
I could do a
good.
barrel straight
banger.
toasted barrel. It'd be ridiculous.
Which could be what we get this year. Like you just never know. You know,
You
Like,
never
could be what comes out. But yeah, no, it's fantastic. There's a bunch of chocolate in it as well. The toasted. I mean, I'm good for putting drinks in a glass. So it's a s'mores in a glass. So there you go. That's what I like about it.
It is delicious. Thank you for sharing it. It's really good. The nose is by far the best. Like with all the toasted ones, like the nose just has a level of depth and complexity, and I think it's the toasted barrel, which we've talked about before, makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Are we replacing this thing? Am I replacing it first? Am I going first?
Yeah, you go ahead.
You're the one who loves it, man. You walk into the store, you want to figure out how to replace it. What are you looking at? So
there is no replacing this, right? I'll just say that. Like this is going to.
Brendan, what do you got?
There's no replacing, but you can get close, and you can get close in a decent way with something else that I'm a fangirl of. Old Forester 1910.
You call yourself a fanboy. Why did you?
Well, it's 2021. I'm trying to be inclusive. Okay, Brendan.
You're such a fan person of 1910.
Great pickup here. 1910 Old Forester's Old Fine Whiskey. We've talked about this. This is a double oaked, finished in toasted barrels option for you from Old Forester. That is fantastic. I actually just picked up another bottle of it, so I'm going to crack the bottle for the first time. Oh, that sound was terrible. Let's do it
again. Boo. Oh, there we go.
So, and try it right next to it. We're going to eventually do like a toast off, but I'll try this right here and right now.
Toast off, baby.
We did an episode on toasting, so I feel like this is going to be pretty similar to that one. But let's talk about this 1910 real quick.
Of course, TJ is going to take the opportunity to get just be deep in 1910.
Yeah.
Excellent. Not as
surprise. I had never idea.
So not as sweet. Doesn't have those same characteristics, but 1910 is a decent alternative for the same for less price, much easier to find, a little bit higher proof. We're talking 94 as opposed to just under 91. It's a good alternative. Oh no, this is 91.4. Sorry, is the Michter's toasted barrel. So a little bit higher in proof. Got a lot of that same sweetness. Got some of that toasty finish to it. The double barrel. It's good. It's a good alternative that you can find a lot of places. 1910 is my replacement for Michter's toasted barrel. Ben, I'm out of breath and feel like I talked for the last 10 minutes. I'm tired of hearing myself, so I know these people definitely are.
Agreed.
Go ahead.
These toasted bourbons literally took his breath away.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so for me,
we have to pay royalties. Edit it out. Edit it out.
I don't think that rendition is going to cost us much.
That will not. That'll be free. Don't ask us to pay.
They're going to pay us money.
Yeah, just stop singing it. Anyway.
Ahead,
speaking of the double barrel, right? How about this? How about one of these little special ones? Woodford Reserve, double oaked, also toasted. One of the OGs in toast. It's so toasty, they don't even need to brand itself as toasted barrel. You just taste it, boom. Woodford Reserve. Double oaked.
We still have to
Mega
do
toast.
It's toast.
It's not finished in a toasted barrel, though, is it?
It is.
Toasted barrel. Yes. They re-barrel into a heavily toasted barrel.
We have to do
brag about it because they're bosses.
A blind toast off. We have to do 1910. We have to do Woodford Double Oak to do the Elijah Craig, and we have to do one of the Michter's ones too. Although I'm about to finish off the bourbon tonight, so either say another one or we got.
Yeah, we don't have enough bourbon to be doing the
sour. We do the sour mash.
Sour mash is not. Yeah, that's the least exciting of the three. See, that one's not going to win.
I mean, it should. It was like an $80 bottle that was limited release and about $300 on secondary. That we didn't talk about the secondary on this, TJ. Isn't it like right now, if you wanted to try to get this bottle from what was 2018, 2019, is it like $400?
$400.
No, I think it's going to be between $250 and $300.
Okay, so on the Google,
still a ton of money.
Oh, really? Well, okay.
You have access to databases that I do not have, and we'll leave it at that.
I have a BlackBerry, and on the BlackBerry now has an app that
Called
Bourbon
Blacklist.
second. Yeah, it's
And
blacklisted
there you go.
bourbon.
There you
So,
go.
all right, Woodford double oaked for Brendan.
Easily.
What are you going with? Woodford double oaked. Let me say this before you go. Woodford double oaked and Old Forester 1910, very similar price points.
Yep.
Similar proofs. Both
and available.
Good. Yeah, both good options. So yeah, check them both.
And
Brendan.
both Brown Foreman. Right?
Give me my Brown Foreman.
All right, so you guys are all like, I'm just going to stick with the double oaked and be toasted, boring down the line. Like, no, you're not going to straight up replace what would normally be like an $80 bottle of bourbon or $200 or $300 on secondary, given that's older. Then I'm just going to walk in the store and replace it with a double oaked or a 1910. It's just not going to happen. It's just price point. No, it's not going to be the same. So I'm not even going to try to recreate this with a toasted barrel. I can't do it.
All right, back to TJ. That's great. Good job, Brendan. Way to follow the assignment.
Initially, I was going to whip out one of my favorites here. I'm still whipping out that smoke wagon, right? Skin the smoke wagon. Small batch, but it was more corn heavy on the nose, and the taste with the high rye, it didn't emulate what I was looking for with the Michter's toasted there. What did, however, just experimenting that hit that marshmallow, that toasty, the chocolatey vibes that were very prominent from nose to taste to finish with the Michter's. How appropriate. This is Maker's 46 cask strength. The staves in there, give it a toasty finish in and of itself in a different way. Instead of putting it in the barrel, you're taking the wood and putting it into the bourbon itself, and smelling them like nose to nose. Not only are they similar, hear me out here. The Maker's is richer and deeper and more complex on the nose than even this exquisite toasted barrel. I mean, this Maker's nose is just other than a bug fell in it. There's a bug in here. Other than that, it's perfect. It's an amazing nose. I can't drink it now. Damn it. So Maker's 46 cask strength for me would be one you can find. It's limited release. However, I was in St. Pete this past weekend by you guys. Went to like 2 different stores, and it was there for about like $60. Go ahead, buy one.
Just pull the bug out and drink that.
Why even go cask? Maker's 46 is 94 proof, and then you're at.
I don't have it.
What's the toasted 94?
I haven't had it.
Isn't toasted at 94 proof or something like that?
You think I could drink it, TJ?
Yeah, I've done that before. Okay. Toasted's at 91 point.
Oh yeah, you do the regular then.
I don't know. I mean, the nose. I think you need the proof for that nose to eclipse. Again, I being serious. This Michter's nose is special, so I think you need an extra proof to eclipse it and to hang with it.
You'll probably need the extra flavor too. I don't know what the regular 46 would do.
It's good. It's spicy, but the cask strength gives it this complexity that to me kind of knocks off the Michter's.
So we've replaced 3 bourbons now. We'll have to try and find something to replace next week. Going to try and do this for at least 2 more weeks, get it up to 5, and then maybe go back to an old favorite of ours, King of the Hill.
King of the Hill.
See if we can King of the Hill some rise. So that's that. Pursuits and purchases, and then we'll get out of here. Kind of a quicker episode, but we appreciate you guys, of course, for hanging out. I picked up a couple of things today. I want to have a conversation with you guys. I saw Eagle Rare on a shelf at my local liquor store for $32.99. Right?
Reasonable.
Right.
A little
very
high,
reasonable price.
Technically, but reasonable.
Yeah, maybe like $1 or $2 high. But I think if you saw it at 30, you'd be like, oh, that's great. You know, now Costco does do it at 25. Costco does do it for Costco does do it. Yeah, I was thinking about Ben for a minute. That's his nickname. I'm at Ben's house. We call him Kako.
Good old Kako.
I'm Kako now. Costco does it for 40 or 25 at times. But $33, $32.99. if you saw it at your local store for $32.99 at a store that very rarely has it, Ben, it was Party Liquors, right? Like you don't see it there. It was on the special roof, or on the special cabinet. Are you picking that up? Are you buying it or no? Brendan, you go first. $32.99.
I told you no earlier, but that was based on TJ that you had a full bottle of it as well as a store pick in your collection. If you were down to just one, I would say yes. The fact that you have two, that you're rolling too deep there, I would say probably not, given that I know that you're trying to limit yourself a little bit there. But if you do not have Eagle Rare in your collection, that is a no-brainer. If you had one, I would lean towards yes. If you're again rolling with a couple, I would have said probably not.
Ben, $32.99. Yeah, that's a good point to bring up. I have a full bottle unopened, and then I also have a store pick that has roughly 80%.
Are we doing this from the perspective of you or from the perspective of like not you?
Well, no, if it was you, if you had a full bottle and one with 80%.
Oh, no. If I have a full bottle and one with 80% and I'm at Party Licks, then I probably wouldn't. But it also goes back to, do you love Eagle Rare? If you love it, then you're buying a bottle that you love for $35. That's what a bargain that is. If you find it like average or like, okay, then, and you already have it in your collection or a bottle, then there's no point. If you don't have it, if you never had it in your collection, definitely buy it, because then you can brag about it and you've had a chance to drink it and see if you like it or not. But even, for example, let's say you don't have, or you have in your collection, you don't enjoy it, there's no point in buying another bottle of it. So it just depends if you enjoy it or not.
So I do enjoy it, and here's why I ended up going with it, just to talk to the folks and let them know why I bought it. I do enjoy it. I don't go to Eagle Rare a ton. In fact, I think the next time that I know that I'm going after Eagle Rare is last year on 4th of July. My wife and I made tomahawk ribeyes and watched Hamilton. Like, that just felt like a very American thing to do. It
and
came
Eagle
out.
Rare.
I had Eagle Rare with it. That was kind of a cool thing. So I know that I'm going for Eagle Rare in a couple of weeks here coming up.
Yeah.
Ben's like, I guess I need a 4th of July invite now.
I need to be in that room where it happened.
Okay. Brutal.
So Ben likes Basil Hayden's more than he likes you.
They don't ask for a basil. So anyway, I think that I didn't necessarily need this, and so I went with it because it is a fantastic gift.
I will agree.
It's a 30. Oh, Ben, that's the first time in show history that Ben's told me I've made a good point. Yeah. It's a $32, $33, so with tax, $35 gift for somebody that, if they're newer into bourbon, or like my stepdad, for example, doesn't make it anywhere but like your ABCs and your Walmart liquors and your Publix. He's never even found a Buffalo Trace, right? Just because he doesn't like search for that stuff like we do. He's not popping into liquor stores here and there like we do. He's not looking. So, Father's Day is coming up. I'm thinking about giving him that Eagle Rare for Father's Day. He will flip out. And then his birthday is coming up just past that, and I'll give him something else, so to me, that's where the value is. It is, man, this is a fantastic gift. So for me, it was a definite buy. I knew that I could find a reason for it. And if somebody I knew wanted a bottle of Eagle Rare and couldn't find it, I'd say, give me $35 and this is yours. So anyway, went with it. That was my reasoning, my justification. Can you buy that? Valid. Can you buy that and not Sonone it, Brendan?
I can Sonone it.
I don't think Ben's getting it.
I can cock it.
You're ridiculous. I also picked up a bottle of Jefferson Ocean small batch.
Oh, I just got it. His last name's Cock.
Oh, I got it.
Jefferson's Reserve. Sorry, not the Jefferson's Ocean. Jefferson's Reserve, very old Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, very small batch. This is at Walmart. This is a $48 bottle. It was on sale for $25. So I figured that, I don't know if this is worth for $48, but to me, it's probably worth the $25. So to me, that's a good bargain.
Jefferson's, I could be wrong. I think it's MGP juice. So you got a nice bottle. If I'm not mistaken, a nice bottle of MGP juice for $25. But not bad.
Can't complain about that.
TJ muted himself, and he unmuted himself.
I was just going to see if one of you guys went next, or if you were just going to wait for me to.
Oh
pass it
yeah,
to
our turn. All right. I thought you
Oh.
were going to set me up. You're like, Brendan, what did you get this week?
I didn't
No.
watch anything this week.
No,
And
you
I was
guys-
going to pick this up and be like, oh, here's this ABC vault bag. And then you're going to
Oh
be like,
my
what's
gosh.
inside? And I was going to be like, bum, 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 bum. This is a Four Roses barrel strength. Let
Wow.
me check it. Limited edition small batch. It's a lot of titles here. 2019 release. This is a 56.3% alcohol by volume. Do the math there. I'm not sure how much proof that is, but I got a vault invite the other day, and I got this beautiful bad boy here. I've not cracked it yet, but
Do we know what recipe that is, or they use a blend like their small
you want me to
batch kind
see?
of
All right,
stuff?
let me see. I think it's going to be a blend. All right, the art and cardamom early.
This is great podcast material. Brendan reading
I will
something
edit
to
this all out.
himself.
Oh, well, I don't know. Savor both. It does have like numbers at the back that say 4, 4, 5, 3, 1, 1, 3, 4,
That's a
4,
SKU
0.
number.
Okay.
He's reading the barcode.
Mingled expertly to present. So mingled to me is a fancy way of saying
It's definitely blended,
right?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right, right.
yeah. It's
okay.
definitely blended recipes.
It's mingled expertly to present elegant aromas of oak, honey, red raspberries, and vanilla. Complementary flavors of bright sweet fruits, cinnamon, baking spices, and mellow barrel flavors lead you to a rich, soft, and lasting finish. To call it nuanced and uniform. So it gets really good reviews. I'm excited for it. I do like Four Roses quite a bit. I think this will be delightful. Ben,
Nice.
I don't know, and I'm not pursuing anything right now. I am going to upstate New York in July. I'm trying to behave, not buy anything now, and see what the upstate market shows
right.
in about a month or so. What about you, Ben?
Yeah. So I haven't bought anything this week. I am pursuing that just got released. It probably will be a while before it hits our shelves, and it'll probably sell out and then be on the secondary market for multiple times. It's money, but
You might have talked. Did you talk about this last week? You talking about it again?
I may have. That's how excited I am about it. I saw a review of it this week. Is it the Old Forester
Yeah, you mentioned it last week.
single barrel
He's still pursuing it.
rye? Yeah, it's a continued pursuit.
It hit some shelves. None in Florida, but it did hit some shelves this week.
Right.
I saw that.
I watched a review of it this week. It was reviewed very highly, so I'm still in pursuit of that bottle. I probably won't be able to find it, but I want it. I definitely want it. TJ,
Clearly.
We
Give it to
already did me.
Did
I'm
we?
saying give it to
No,
me.
did we?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Oh yeah. No, what are you pursuing? You purchased? Are you pursuing? anything?
Pursuing. I want that same bottle that Ben wants. So
Yeah.
he's
We
out of
need
luck.
Oh,
when I
maybe
We need
need
that
only
that.
be
bottle.
one
We
Highlander.
need that bottle. We need that bottle.
Need that. Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. I don't really have anything specific that I'm pursuing. I'm kind of on the. I went out to buy an airplane bottle of Maker's Mark and came back with an Eagle Rare and a Jefferson small batch. So that's how my day is going. So,
Wait, was the Eagle Rare
I'm
at,
trying to
at
cut back.
Walmart, TJ?
The Eagle Rare was at Party Liquors. I went there for the
Okay.
mini of Maker's Cast or the Maker's airplane, and they didn't have it. They were out of it. So,
Ooh, I got a bourbon story for you this week.
Go on.
Kind of reiterating the point of drink good bourbon when you got good friends around you. I got a buddy that flew in from LA this past week, and he hasn't been home since COVID. So I got to take the opportunity to start drinking some good bourbon with him. And so I had him, mom and dad down the street this past weekend, and I pulled out the good stuff. We ended up going with a ABC store pick of Makers. Great. If you haven't had that, that's awesome. I had a Wilderness Trail store pick rye. I tried a Four Roses barrel strength or single barrel strength OBSK Tallahassee store pick. You can see the trend here is store picks because they're great usually. And the night ended with a Jack Daniel's single barrel strength rye. Easily outshone everybody else on the table. It was incredible. If you don't have that bottle, go out and try to find a bar that has it and taste it. But moral of the story is I was able to kind of share a night with him, his parents, kind of coming back into town, relaxing, and having some great bottles together. And that's pretty much why we drink bourbon. So again, drink good stuff with good people, and you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, I didn't mention this on Thursday night show because we were kind of in a hurry, or last week's show because we were kind of in a hurry and we did it kind of at a weird time. But last Monday I had a buddy, Johnny, who listens to the show, come over. They were in town from Chicago. They come into town and out of town fairly regularly. But we were hanging out. We kind of did the same thing, man. He was over, and so we tried some special things. We tried that Yellowstone pick that Ben has talked about. I'm trying to look right now. We tried the EHT straight rye. We tried a few other things, but we also tried that Jack Daniel's barrel strength rye special release in 2020. So yeah, drink good bourbon, drink good whiskey with the people that you like. Brendan talked about that on our last episode, drinking some good stuff. His Pappy 15 with his
My dad put ice in his Pappy.
I send it back.
If that's how he likes it, then he's wrong.
Love you, Dad.
Guys, do you have any shout outs or anything before we get out of here?
Nope. This is a fun episode. Just three guys talking about bourbon.
The Burbs key.
I enjoyed it. Always enjoy hanging out with you guys. We have a good time on here. If you guys can follow us on social media, it is Bourbon on a Budget everywhere. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, everything you've got. Bourbon on a Budget. Let us know what you're drinking. Let us know what you want us to review. We've taken some listener suggestions. We've thrown most of them in the trash, but we have taken some listener suggestions and done some different segments, done some different reviews based on what you guys have said. We have no clue what next week's episode is about.
What do you guys want us to replace next week? There we go.
You tell me.
A replacement would be good. Yeah. Tell us what you want us to replace.
What are you looking for that you can't find? Let us know.
What are we going to do with that?
That's not really the same.
No,
that's a replacement. Like you want to find it, you got to replace it with something else. That's a replacement. Are you kidding me? Jeez.
He made a good point. Yeah, he did. I like
no,
that.
you're just saying that because he said you made a good point earlier.
No, I have no loyalty there. I mean, we're going to be friends either way.
I make great points all the
time. So anyway, good time, guys, tonight. Thanks so much for hanging out. Check out our review of Maker's Mark that's coming out on Thursday morning of this week.
Spoiler alert.
It's not a spoiler.
It's been spoiled.
You guys are spoiled because of my presence.
Cheers.
We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.